Welcome to All Indefinitely, interviews and insights to empower you to achieve personal and professional success through friendships, relationships, and marriage. Here are your hosts, Anwar and Siana.
Welcome to another show of All Indefinitely. This might be my favorite show of all time. So
yes, probably mine too.
Okay, great.
Such a special show.
We have a special guest for you today.
The most special one.
Very, very special. Most special person to me, my mom, Silvie. Silvie, how are you, Mom?
I'm good.
Hi, Silvie. Thank you for being here with us. It's such an honor.
Well, we have a little bit to talk about. We won't take too much of your time, Mom. You're cooking right now?
I'm almost done.
What are you cooking?
Some beans and chicken.
Oh, okay.
Are you making enough for 2 more people?
Yes, absolutely.
She's so sweet.
My mom will only cook. She only cooks in like industrial sizes only. I don't think she can cook for 1 or 2 people. She needs like a lot of guests all the time.
That's true. I don't know how to cook just.
Sylvia, I gotta tell you something. You
Yeah.
are like a protagonist of this show because your son is always talking about you for either one reason or the other one. He's always talking good. Don't worry. He's always saying great things about you, that you're the best, the sweetest, the greatest. And so I feel like our audience already know you. Like you are a very important part of our show. So that's why it's so great to have you here. And
Oh, really?
yes. And I personally think that you are so wise and so smart. I respect immigrants in general, but you being a woman, having 3 kids and going through so much, and though that everything that happened, you actually have had a great life, a great family, and you are a very intelligent person and great to talk with. So it's awesome that you're here. I cannot say it enough.
And needless to say, I feel the same way.
Thank you.
So let me ask you some things. I mean, I know vaguely, and I want to talk more about it and everything like that. But tell me a little bit about when you grew up, like when you were a little girl and you would think about relationships or marriage. Where did you learn that from? Who told you about it?
Oh my! I read every fairy tale I could put my hands on.
Really?
When I
So you're from and for those of you who don't know, you're from Essequibo Coast in Guyana. They didn't have cable. They didn't have a TV, right?
I didn't grow up with TV.
So
I read voraciously when I was a kid. I would be the first one at the library door, waiting for them to open the door. And then I had my pick that I ran straight to.
What was your pick?
Well, like I said, I started off reading all these fairy tales, and then I was between 6 and 10, and then I love mysteries and adventure stories, and so on and so forth. So that's where I began.
So it kind of began in your imagination.
Well, that was how we entertained ourselves when we were growing up. There was no extracurricular activity. Just playing with your friends in the backyard or in the street, or listening to stories. My dad used to read us stories at night, and he couldn't read in English. He couldn't read in English because he didn't have much of a chance to go to school, but he taught himself to read in Hindi and Urdu and Sanskrit. And he used to read, he had the Arabian Nights translated into Hindi, and he would read it and then explain it to us. And we would sit there and just hang on every word. And these stories were so long that they wouldn't finish in one night. So
Oh my God.
he
He had to be
had
a
us.
to be continued.
Yes, he would have us guessing, and then we would like just anxiously wait till the next night when he would continue.
Aw.
Yeah.
So
So
okay, so you're and how old were you when you were doing all that? We never talked about this, Mom.
I never told you how my dad used to read us at night.
You did, but we never talked. I can't remember. It's been a while. So I don't know why we haven't got around to
Yeah.
like storytelling.
Yes.
And
Yes.
so when
Um.
what age were you?
It's my earliest memory. Maybe till I was in high school.
Oh, so it's
You
something
know.
he did all through grade school.
That's amazing.
Yes. Yes. Not every night, but when he was like working in the fields and he's too tired, then we would just go to bed. But once we had the time and he wasn't so tired, then he would read to us and he would tell us all these stories.
Did you ever think about when you're young of how you visualize your life to be? You know what I mean? Was there any time for that, or did you like?
I just knew that I wanted to be. I wanted to have a career. I didn't want to just grow up, get married, and have kids. I wanted to go to school, get an education.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, I was very much promoted by my parents too. They
Right.
wanted us to have a better life, and they stressed education a lot. And they made it possible. And I was fully into it. They didn't have to push me. My favorite thing was to go to school.
So you wanted to be more like did you saw yourself getting into a career and getting a job and living on your own and having adventures?
Yeah, I was growing up in the 60s. It was the time when women were like, okay, I don't want to be barefooted and pregnant in the kitchen. I want to have a life too. I want to be able to do a job. I want to be able to earn. I want to have to be able to make my own decisions,
I think we talked about that last show. Like, it wasn't until 1970 that California allowed for the no-fault divorce. And that was a direct action of the women of the 60s.
Yeah.
Pressuring, saying, I don't want to just be a stay-at-home
yeah.
mom.
Well, I was growing up at that time. And even though I was not in the United States, I think I was always so interested in what's going on. I'm a news addict, right? So
in a
I
very
always
unhealthy
was
way. Mom, you have too much dick. She picks me up from the airport last week when I'm coming back from South America, and she figured out how to watch CNN directly from her phone. The phone jack is on. She has the CNN playing, and she's listening to the CNN
Well, she's driving.
while she's driving. That's worse than an addict, Mom.
I'm well informed.
Okay.
News is good. What's going on? Like I always wanted to know what's going on all around the world, and as I said, I read a lot, and these books, they said, the venue was like Australia and South Africa, and every Thailand and all these places. So of course I want to know.
Yeah. Which we're supposed to be going to Australia and Thailand this year, 2022. So
I'm looking forward. Yes, and well, I don't want to get off topic, but when we travel, I always say I want to go here. I want to go here because these are places. For example, Istanbul. I wanted to go there because so many mysterious things happen there. That intrigue me.
I cannot keep up with my mother when we're traveling. I can't even keep up with her. I swear.
Really?
The last trip, she had me running around so much, I tapped out. I couldn't take it anymore. She was in London. We met in Greece. From Greece, we went to Egypt. From
Wow.
Egypt, we went to Istanbul. then to where did we go after that?
We traveled to Bulgaria.
Bulgaria.
And then we ended up in Romania.
Romania, yeah, in Budapest, right? Or
Yeah,
Bucharest.
Bucharest.
Bucharest, sorry. And then we went to
And then
Budapest.
from Bucharest, we went to Budapest.
And then from there, we went to Vienna.
So, yeah, then we found out about Oktoberfest.
And
that
we
it was fun.
yeah,
So
yeah. We went to Oktoberfest. We went to Munich, but before that, we went to Prague. We went to Prague, and then after so much beer in when we were in Munich, I had hit my.
He went to Oktoberfest with his mom and his aunt.
I went to Oktoberfest with my mom and my aunt. And they're
That's great.
And they're going, and I'm like tapping out. I'm like, guys, we got to stop moving around so much. We're like going, and they're like, they book a ticket. They're like, no, after this, we're going to Berlin.
Berlin.
Like, yeah, and I was like, Mom, I can't take it anymore. Get me out of here.
I can't keep up with you guys. I'm out of here.
Like, my mom is so she wants to see the whole world right away, like now, which I appreciate, Mom. But
Yeah, that's great. That's a great way to leave.
So you're traveling. You in your mind, you want to see the whole world, and you're a young girl, and you're thinking about it. Like, are you hanging out with friends, and you're talking to your friends, and they're saying, yeah, we want to do that, or are you?
Man, I was. How do you say? Everybody wanted to be my friend in high school. I was like the popular girl in high school for the right reasons.
Uh-huh.
You know, when you say here you're a popular girl in high school, people think about something else. But no, I had tons of friends from every different background, and they were not friends between themselves, but they were all friends to me.
Okay. So you're just a talker, like making friends with people. And
I was very outgoing and very friendly, and everybody was my friend.
Did they have your same mindset, especially your female friends, that they wanted to not only get married and have a family, but also have a career?
Not all of them. Most talk about like what girls talk about these hairstyles and what's the latest fashion and who's going with who and that kind of thing.
Okay, so it's the same thing today.
Yeah.
Essentially.
But I found that I like talking to people that were older. Mm-hmm. And I had someone who was like a mentor, and he would challenge me and guide me, and give me different things to think about. And so,
like, what do you mean?
Well, like social order, like it was a time when Che Guevara and Fidel Castro and, the whole idea of communism, socialism against capitalism and religion, where did all that come in?
I see.
He kind of really challenged me that way. And I think I credit a lot of I would say that I was always curious. The one word that I always occurred to me, why? I just want to know why. And that kind of opened up my mind to think about different things and really, not just flash through my mind, but really think about it deeply.
Mm-hmm. And so we'll fast forward a little bit towards this story, just in the interest of time. But so you meet my dad where?
Mm-hmm. Okay, so I was working. I got my first job, my first weekend off, and I'm heading to my family home in Essequibo because I was working in Georgetown. And you can't go visit my family. You need a whole day travel to get there.
Right, because this is in Guyana, and there's no fast roads or and there's no roads at all. You have to take a speedboat.
Yeah. So we had to wait for the ferry, and the ferry had gotten delayed, and we're just sitting there waiting, and managed to. I saw a friend of mine from high school,
Mm-hmm.
and we started talking, and your dad actually knew him, and he kind of walked over. He was looking at me the whole time to the point where I'm uncomfortable. And then finally, when he saw me speaking to this guy, he walked over because he knew the guy and introduced himself.
Oh, okay. So he found the inn.
Yeah.
Okay, so he introduced by the speedboats.
No, those days was the ferry.
Oh, those. Oh, there's not even speedboats in those days. It was just that 5-hour ferry you have to take.
Yes.
Oh, Jesus. Oh, I wouldn't even take that thing, no matter what.
Yeah.
So okay.
So it was hours and hours on the phone. You know, when you were talking in a group.
I see.
Mm-hmm.
Let me ask you a question. I was born in Suriname.
Right.
And you're from Guyana. You were born in Guyana. My brother is born in Guyana. My dad's from Guyana, and I'm from Suriname. Why?
So I was asking this question. We were living in Suriname at the time. Because due to the economic collapse in Guyana, I moved to Suriname. Remember, I was a computer programmer those days, and there was no opportunity in Guyana, so I took a job offer in Suriname. And your brother, of course, being old, was my first child, and I wanted to be at my mom's for my first child. It's kind of like a little tradition type of thing. But with you, I was like, okay, I'll stay right here.
So wait a minute. So you wanted to be with your mom for my brother's birth, so you went home to Guyana. But for me,
because it was my first, but I didn't know. You know, I was scared, don't know what to expect, and I thought about being a home, go to my mom, and then have the baby over there.
And then for me, you're like, I got this. I did this already.
Yes.
You're like, okay, I can handle this. And then
I can do this now.
We leave and go to Canada. How old am I when we leave Suriname and go to Canada?
Oh, you were only 8 months.
Right. So I have no memory of Suriname, by the way. For those of you that think I'm Surinamese, I mean, I do love the country. I have a deep roots there. I mean, my only root. But I have no idea what that place is, where it is, because since I was 8 months old, I haven't. So we go to Canada.
Yes.
Okay. And then from Canada, we come to Miami. And I grew up in Miami from when I'm 4 years old till
right.
now.
You were still a baby when you barely. Well, how old are you? You had to be 2 when we came here.
No, I was 4.
4, true, 4. Right.
And then you end up as a English teacher.
Yes.
At Miramar Senior High School.
A long road to there, but
how long? Why'd you go to college, and what happened with that?
Okay, so I came to the United States in 1974.
74.
And I started 74. Yes.
Okay.
And I started.
Oh, that's right, in New York.
Yes, and I started to go to college, and I had started computer programming, and it was a very brand new field then. And I couldn't get my visa.
Did they have computers in 1974?
Yes.
Jesus, what were those things looking like?
Buildings?
When you used to have punch cards, you know, those 8x4 punch cards?
Yeah, I remember seeing those.
Not 4, I think it's like 3. Punch cards, though. I don't know. You can't remember that.
I seen old movies.
Yes, and the letters would be punched on it, and then the machine reads it.
Wow.
Yeah, so after I couldn't get my visitor visa changed to student visa, I had to to go back to Guyana, but at that time I already had like a year of college and enough to at least be able to write code.
Uh-huh.
So when I went back to Guyana, they had just started getting computers there, and I landed a job, and it was good job, and
How much money were
I
you making?
started living in the city on my own.
Well, how much money were you making when you got a good job in Guyana?
Oh my goodness, $200 a month, not US.
$200 Guyanese dollars a month.
Yeah.
What
But
was a
then
bad job?
actually, a teacher used to make just a teacher used to make $96 a month.
Wow.
Wow, so you
Yeah.
were like doubling a teacher's salary.
Yeah, you had a great
Yes.
job. Wow.
With benefits and but it set me up because after the things went downwards in Guyana, that allowed me to go to Suriname, and I started building up my experience, and then to Canada, where I continued to work as a program analyst, and that I worked in the field for 15 years.
Okay. So
And
so how so you came here? I'm trying to get to where you went to Miami-Dade College here.
okay, so when I came back here, remember I used to work. I don't want to say the firm.
Yeah, don't
But
say.
I
No,
got
we're not
laid
mentioning.
off.
Yeah, we don't want to say any names of anything. By the
Yes,
way,
I got laid off.
I forgot to prep her before we got our show.
And wanted to a change of career, and then I started going back to Miami-Dade, and I did psychology, but I couldn't find. I would have to go on to do a master's and PhD perhaps. So then I decided to.
How long did it take you to get your bachelor's degree?
Oh my God, it took a lot of years because I had to do just 2 courses per semester. Remember, I was working full time,
Mm-hmm.
and it took me a long time, but I did it. And then I had taken time off. There were there was years when I didn't go back to school.
So roughly 14 years.
No, I didn't go back to college right away.
No, but I mean, from
here.
start to finish, it was I remember it being like a while.
Like 8 years.
No, was it 8 years?
8? That's amazing because you were raising 3 kids at the time.
Working full time.
And working full time. That's impressive.
And you had to catch the bus.
Yeah.
Wow.
But I didn't give up. I just kept going.
And you were. I remember you catching the bus all the time because you didn't have a car.
Right.
That was fine.
I used to work downtown, so I would just take the bus.
So okay, and then you get a job doing what after all your years?
I was working with a mediation firm.
No, I'm talking about after you finish your degree.
Oh, after my degree, then I decided I was working part-time as a substitute teacher.
Uh-huh.
And I decided to, and remember I said, well, I wanted to teach, and maybe I should get my certification in math because they needed math teacher. And you said to me, Mom, why are you going to do math? You don't like math. You like English. Why don't you do English? You're good at English. And I took your advice, and I got my certification in English.
I could not understand why you were doing something you didn't like, and you were so into literature, and I didn't understand why you weren't doing that.
But then she was a programmer.
Yeah, like I just problem solving and thinking that there's a need in that area. But you were right, of course, that this is my passion, and why do something that I'm not going to enjoy.
Right.
He is great at finding people's passions.
I mean, if you have your passion, you just do your passion. I don't care if you're like not going to make that much money. You're just going to enjoy it better, I guess.
Yeah.
So I couldn't understand that.
I think I learned I learned a lot just by being a teacher, and I mean, it was beneficial to myself also.
Right. Yeah. Man, Mom, I have to ask a couple of quick questions because we're close to the end of the interview. The
Okay.
conversation. We're just talking right now because I
Okay.
wanted you to introduce yourself and talk to you a little bit because I guess everyone can understand me a little bit better. But you'll be a recurring guest on our show.
Oh, yes.
So when we need to fill in, we'd love for you to jump in and
Don't
have a
say
conversation.
that.
Well, in a good way.
No.
In a good way.
No, no, it's great to have you here, Sylvie, because even I learned a lot from you today. You've had such a great life and such an impressive journey that it's amazing to have you and learn from you.
So
Yeah, well, you know what? I figured it out very early that life is about choices. And you make the right choice, you will get the right result. You know, you cannot make a wrong choice and get the right result. That was one of the things I figured out very early.
okay.
Of course, that didn't mean that I didn't make wrong choices, but at least at the time, I think I'm making the right choice.
Are you content with the choices that you made in life?
Yes, absolutely. I may have, as I said, sometimes I may have not made the right choice at that time, but I think eventually I got to the right place. You know.
Great. I have one last question. That's my last question. Who's your favorite son?
Oh, you know I can't answer that. I take the fifth.
You would just tell me. You just tell me. Nobody will know.
Well, we want to have you back because I want to talk to you about like friends that you've had through your life and friends who are still friends today with, marriage, and what should I do? Should I get married to have the best life?
Oh, you know how I feel about that.
Yeah.
How do you feel?
I feel that he deserves to have the love and companionship and care and someone to be by his side. I think he deserves only the best.
He does. He does deserve all the best.
Well, I mean,
I'm not sure if that's the best, but he does deserve all the best.
We got a lot of that's a lot to talk about. But and you, are you happy in life? How are you doing now?
I'm
How old are you now?
Absolutely happy, content. I don't, I have no complaints.
No regrets?
Life is beautiful.
Aww.
Do you have any regrets?
I may have had one or two, but regrets is a difficult thing to talk about because if you would have known better, you would have done better, right? That's my philosophy. And if you make a mistake, if you did something that didn't turn out the way you wanted it to turn out, then learn from it. Figure out what you did wrong. Figure out how you could have made a different choice. And hopefully, because you never know, there's no roadmap to follow. You just go with what the best thing you can do at that time. And then once it's the best thing that you can do at that time, how can you have regrets? You did what you thought was the best thing to do at that time.
So let me ask you this one question. This is the last question. And then we'll have you on again. And I'm so glad you get to join me on the show, and I want you to come back on more often. Number one regret, if you had to fire it off right now, what would it be?
That I didn't end my marriage earlier.
That's a perfect ending to our show. Thank you guys for listening right now. We're gonna have part 2 with Sylvie.
Say more about that.
I'm gonna get back to it. I know people want to listen to more about that, especially with the nature of our show. So thank you all for listening. If you're interested in
thank you, Sylvie.
Thank you, Mom. Let me give a quick shout out to our sponsor, American Worldwide Academy. If you need help getting your high school diploma or career training certificate, please log on to careerhighschool.com or call 305-456-5948. Thank you guys for listening. We're going to have more for you with Silvie on another time, I promise. And we'll get to that regret and we'll get more on that. Bye. Thank you.
Okay.
Bye.
You've been listening to All Indefinitely. Help us spread the word by subscribing and sharing the show.